So is the carb off the BSA? I've already slackened that off. Looks fine. These are all stainless steel Jubilee clips by the looks of it. Filter doesn't look too bad, it's only not damaged. Looks reasonably clean. Interesting, I noticed this is a 930 carb. I think, sorry, no, 932. So, yeah, 32 mil diameter, which, according to my book, the 32, the 1971 B50 SS should have a 928, and they upped it to a 930 for 72, I think, or maybe late 71. But this is the carb that was fitted to the MX version only, according to the book. So yeah, I guess it's been changed at some point. Yeah. It's like an old needle. The later ones have a Viton tip, black rubber tip. This one obviously doesn't have. No sign of any petrol inside it, but then I guess it's been stood so long that would have evaporated anyway. But probably okay. Okay, float bowl pretty clean. No obvious sort of grit or grime in the bottom. Sort of gunge around here with some sort of sealant or just remains of the gasket. Just rip these jets out. Looks okay. Put it back in for now. Let's try this one. Yeah, again, doesn't look too bad. That's the stop for the slide, and this is the air screw. I think slow running, which lets air into somewhere. There's a small hole somewhere. Oh, there it is. You probably can't see it. There's a small hole there, which is an air bleed. So this screw basically allows an air leak on the machine engine side of the throttle slide, just to let some air in that little hole. So when the slide is shut, you can control the amount of air that bleeds in at idle. So I love these Nipex pliers. They're brilliant. The jaws they adjust very easily. You can adjust them with one hand, but also the jaws are smooth, so it doesn't damage things like this. Okay, so I've got the ultrasonic tank out. It's just warming up. It's set to 45 degrees, which I don't know whether that's correct or not, but seems about right. I'm using this Sea Clean ultrasonic cleaning fluid, so yeah, let it warm up and we'll give it a go. Okay, it's been another half an hour. Let's see what these look like now. Yeah, the float bowl has certainly cleaned up. Those dirty patches have pretty much gone. So that looks good. Give that a rinse. These other parts. Yeah, again they look fine. Again, I'll rinse them and blow through with some compressed air, probably just to clear anything out that's left in there. That had quite a lot of crud in the bottom, but that's all gone now as well. So yeah, pleased with that. So a quick rinse and we're done with the cleaner for now. Yeah, even the clip is cleaned up pretty well. You can see the little split which is supposed to be there so that it can just snap around the needle. Yeah, that's good. That runs through cleanly now. I didn't need to use a wrench or anything, just did it by hand, but it has cleared out some gunge, rust and bits and pieces. So I'll just blow that through and it'll be good to go. Just a quick win maybe. I just noticed on eBay that these grommets are available for the headlamp bracket mounts. So the originals are pretty shot. Just whip the other one off. Special nuts and a washer. I wonder if I've got any stainless steel ones that would do that. I might have a look in a minute. And I guess these just push out somehow. Yeah, so they're pretty bad condition, but replacements look correct. Well, I do have, as it turns out, some stainless washers, 12mm flat washers. They're actually slightly smaller diameter than the originals by less than a millimeter. But I'll use these. I'll obviously save the old ones, but I'll use these stainless ones, I think. Good, that looks a bit better. A minor point, but might as well could do it. So I've just noticed, I was trying to clean up these forks a bit, see whether this surface rust will come off, and it has pretty much, so that's good. But meanwhile, I just noticed that there's a diode down here on top of the bottom fork yoke. So that's good to see. I was wondering where it was. I thought there must be one somewhere. Obviously, there's the rectifier at the back, but I couldn't understand how the voltage was being controlled, and that's obviously the answer. They're using the fork yoke as a heatsink, and that Zener is controlling the voltage. So yeah, good to know. I have to trace through the wiring before too long, work out how it works. But I guess it probably follows the MX version of the B50 with a batteryless system. But so I'll work that out in due course. Right, I think I'm getting to the bottom of this carburetor, mainly thanks to the superb amalcarb.co.uk site, which just has loads of details on Amal carburetors and spares and so on as well. So that has been really helpful. So I reckon that this carburetor is an early 900, and it's not an original fitment to this bike. A number of reasons for that, not least of which the code on the carburetor is 932, so it's a 32mm carb. It doesn't have another number stamped on here. If it had been an original fitment, it would have had another number. And I think that would have been for this, well, it could have been either 18 or 2, which would have indicated it had been assembled and supplied to BSA by Amal for those particular models, either the SS or the MX machines. So it doesn't have that additional number, so this is obtained from somewhere else, either directly from Amal, but it doesn't seem to be an original OEM carb. Otherwise, the jets are also kind of wrong. they match up. The holder, the jet holder, and the main needle jet, and the needle itself are all the correct parts that run together. There's an old and a new arrangement in these carbs apparently, and it's important not to mix the parts up. So these do match up, so that's good news. It's the needle it's got two marking rings on the top, which is correct. So it is the right needle. They're pretty much universal. There's only a choice of two, I think. The main jet is incorrect, so I'm showing 240 on here. The MX should be 250 cc's, and the SS should be 200. So this is kind of intermediate. So again, so this carb doesn't seem to fit as a BSA part OEM fitting. Yeah, this jet is the needle jet is 106, and again that seems to be pretty universal. So that does match the SS and the MX original fitment, and pretty much every carb of the 932 size. So that all makes sense. The slide, throttle slide, is 3.5. Cutaway is 3.5, which is good. And again, that's correct for all the B50s. What else? The needle, float needle, is 100% nylon by the looks of it. It's only 100% homogeneous plastic, which suggests it's an early carb. Later ones had the Viton tipped brass float needle, and I think there's another type of needle as well, but this is the latest one and probably arguably the best. These are quite light, and I think there's a danger that they stick, so they were replaced fairly early on in the lifetime of the Mark I concentrics. A couple of other things I've come to realise that the jet here, it's not a jet, is it? But the tube here sticks out and it's flat at the top, which indicates it's a 4-stroke carb designed for a 4-stroke. Apparently the 2 strokes have a sloping top that's cut away towards the engine actually, so it's sloping. This side should be lower than the outside. This doesn't have that, so it's a 4-stroke car built for a 4-stroke engine rather than a 2-stroke. On the other hand, it does have a pilot air jet, which apparently is only present on 2-stroke carburetors or possibly early 4-strokes as well. I think it was eliminated by the time the B50 was launched, so the B50 carb shouldn't have that pilot jet. The numbering on that is 25 on here, but again it suggests that this is an early concentric Mark I for a 4-stroke engine, but still with the pilot air jet. Apparently there were issues with that, and it was moved up to the screw hole up here, and there's a bush in there which effectively replaces this little jet. So yeah. So I think that's pretty much it. Well, the only other thing is the spring. This the throttle slide spring should be 3 inches free length. Mine is actually less than that, down to, well, it's 2 7/8 kind of thing. But so strictly speaking, I should replace that. But I think I'll probably make do with it for now. Good. I think that's everything. All I need now is the gasket set, and I'll put it back together, and we should be good at least to test the thing out and get it running. Good, so the gaskets have arrived and O-rings, so I can whip this back together. Thinking about it, the the 240 main jet, so that's less than the 250 MX and more than the 200 for the SS. I think that's probably good in that the exhaust system. So the exhaust system that it came with is this one. It's just a straight through pipe from the front, and then this on the end. It's quite interesting actually. It says on here US Forest Service approved. Hutchins Free Flow #1 US patent, blah blah blah. So yes, it's quite a light silencer in the sense of back pressure. So I think, well, I assume that the MX was pretty much straight through. So high flow rate, high fuel flow rate, hence the 250 main jet. So this isn't straight through quite, but it's not far off. So probably the 240 jet is about right. It's got this optional muffler, a baffle rather, that fits in the end. That was fitted when I got the machine. I've just taken it out for now. So yeah, I'll stick this back on when I start to run the bike, and the 240 is probably about right, but we'll see. Look at these O-rings out, they are very hard. In fact, they've lost all their elasticity, they won't even spring out. So I'm going to use some petroleum jelly on this just to ease them over the screws, hopefully without damaging them. That's the wrong one. Good, there's one in. Seems that it's easier to get it up over the threads rather than over the head of the screw. And the sharp edges of the slot make you feel as if it's going to cut the O-ring. Good. So new float needle. So jet holder. So needle jet in this side. I'm going to put a little dab of tiniest dab of thread sealant on it, so I don't clog anything up, but just seals the thread. Again, just a tiniest amount of sealant, so just to stop the aluminium steel corroding. Nip it up, doesn't need to be tight. Not over tight anyway. Okay, main jet. It's a bit too much. Okay, this pilot jet isn't tight yet. Okay, looks okay. So the pilot jet needs to fit through this gasket, which it does. I'm not going to put anything on this gasket, any sort of sealant. I don't think it needs it. Looking better. Pilot air screw. So all the way in and 1.5 turns out. So that's all the way in. So 1, 2, 3 halves is 1.5. So use that as the starting position. Throttle slide stop. So that's starting to appear in the slideway. The throttle stop rests on this little cutout here, which makes a lot of sense. So the screw does bear 90 degrees onto that slanted face. So that's fully down. And that's just starting to move, so that's where it makes contact. So I can get rid of that, get rid of those, get rid of one of these. That's the really bad one, that's really crispy. That one looks fine. Yep. Okay, looks good. Okay, so cap on, spring on. Spring on. So the way I try and do this, or normally do this, is with a pair of fine pliers and just pull that through. With a bit of luck, you've got enough length to get it into the slide, like so. So now, put the needle in, position 2, yep. I suppose you can see that, but I can, so looking good. Yeah, looks alright. Good. So I put a very thin smear of Loctite 5910 silicone sealant just against the head side of the Tufnell spacer. So it's very thin, but just enough to seal up any tiny imperfections, but also to stick the spacer to the head. So when I take the carb off next time, it comes off and breaks on the carb side of the spacer. So the O-ring is on. These should be done up to 4 foot-pounds apparently. Click. Good. So apart from that's reattaching the fuel lines, that's all done, ready to go. So I can move on to other stuff. Thanks for watching.